All right, out here in the garage, and I just thought before we started this video, I'd give you a quick overview just from an audio perspective, what's going on. I've been through the gamut here trying to figure out what to use and how to use it properly and get something good going. So what I'll do here is put my GoPro kind of on a stand right here and see if I can make this work. So you can see I've got this cable coming out. So I've got my Cardo. This is the Freecom, the 4X. I started with the 2X and I ended up having to go to the 4X because the 2X you can't do OK Google and Hey Siri and the Cardo commands, and I learned that too late. Luckily I had everything all mounted up. Luckily you can just do a swap and the 4X fits right on top of the 2X. And so I got that fed up. This is the LS2 Advant. So this is one of those, you know, it's a modular helmet here. And so it makes it kind of interesting trying to figure out what to do from this perspective. So I got a little light here. Hopefully this makes it a little bit easier. So a couple things that I figured out how to do. One of the first things that I was doing, and I'll try to play some audio for you from the Cardo, but one of the things I was going to do initially was use the boom microphone here, and I took the foam off the end of it, but get it to kind of run behind here. But the problem that I ran into is that it's pretty tight in here, in this little section right here. And so I was having a hard time figuring out how to get this thing in here and get it mounted and get everything closed and do the whole thing. So what I was actually able to do, and I don't know, I think this is probably hard to see right here, but in this little pocket right here, so inside of the helmet, there's this little pocket. And on the Cardo unit, they give you two microphones. They give you this guy, and they give you another one that if you got a full face helmet, it actually would go, it would just mount right in here, you know, right in that spot and be right in front of your face. So what I did was I took that microphone and I just kind of wedged it in here. And so for the Cardo, and what I'll do on this, and of course I can just hide all of the rest of the wires and stuff back in here. And on this side's a little bit more difficult to do, to get everything snapped back up again. But on this side over here, probably also kind of a little bit hard to see here, but they have the same thing. And I put the purple mic without the, you know, the dead cat kind of thing on it, but I just put the purple mic in here and I just kind of fished it in there. And so then I can just kind of close everything back up, and I don't have anything sticking out. So there's nothing sticking out. There's nothing. The only thing that's sticking out is this guy. Now, one of the things with the purple mic when they send it to you is it's this initial cable here is one of those tip ring sleeve cables. And so if you plug this into either a GoPro that's got a media mod on it, or you plug it into one of these guys that's got the 1/8 inch connector, you get no audio. So luckily they actually ship it with this converter that gives you the tip ring sleeve, which is the two, you want the two lines on here, not the 4, I think, or 3 or 4 that are on for the tip ring sleeve. So that's the setup that I got. When I was using for the Cardo, when I was either using this microphone or this one, it didn't matter. I was going to try, because you know you Bluetooth it with the Cardo app, and so I was going to try to do was thinking that this is the audio quality would be much better with this. What I was going to do was try to just use the audio recorder app on my Android phone and record audio that way, and then just sync it up later in post. And what ended up happening was the way Android with the audio recorder app, it just sees this as like a wide open microphone, and it is completely unusable in that way. What I did do was I made a telephone call to my work voicemail, and through the Cardo app and everything, it actually does the noise cancellation and those sliders that you can use in the Cardo app to figure out the sensitivity adjustments. For this ride, I'm just going to put them in the middle and see how that works. I'm going to make a phone call again to my work voicemail and leave a voicemail there and try to figure out how to wedge that into the conversation or into this thing here. But basically now all I've got is just this one cable that sticks out, and of course this is going to plug into the media mod. So I've got my GoPro 11 that I'll have in front, and of course it'll just plug into the media mod there. The other thing that I did with respect to how this is going to work is I've got no battery in the GoPro 11. I'm going to try to shoot at 5.3K, and I've got no battery in there, and I've got this thing here that will hopefully let's see what happens here. Maybe we gotta okay, I gotta get power. So after you don't use it for a second, it turns itself off. So sometimes it'll do that, and it'll say, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it'll say battery required, and then it'll shut itself off. But usually the second time that I do it, it'll turn itself back on, and I can get that, and you can see again that it's got, you know, no battery up here, but I can press it and I can get it recording. And so I've got a 512 gig card in here, and that gives me 15 hours at 5.3K, and it's one of those new V30 cards that I shouldn't have any problem recording at whatever setting that I want. And so this is how I'm going to try it today and see what works and see how this whole thing kind of works itself out. I'm actually using, I'll put links to this, but this is this little battery pack here that's a 5,000 milliamp battery pack with a, you know, longish enough fast charge HDMI cable. So this thing it has to have 5 volts and 2.4 amps. So you've got to get a cable, and you've got to get one of these doohickeys here, one of these recharger things that supplies 2.4 volts and 5 amps. Otherwise, you'll get a notification on here. If you try to do this whole setup, you'll get a notification here that tells you specifically that, like, it won't work unless you've got a 5 volt 2 amp. So I got this thing, and I can just put this in my pocket, and I can have this cable just kind of running down through the inside of my jacket, and I can put it on an inside pocket in my jacket, so that you don't really have anything there. So anyway, I'm going to try that and see how this works, and we'll just have to go from there. All right, so the next thing that I wanted to show here is I'm going to turn on my my Cardo here. So let me get this turned on. All right, so my Cardo is turned on, and so if I've got this voice recorder app on my Android phone, and so this is using the Cardo microphone, and you can see as I'm talking here, and I'll probably maybe even just switch over to this audio. I'll sync it up and try to switch over to this audio. But the first thing I wanted to show you, if anybody was interested, I actually couldn't find any video of this from anybody doing this on YouTube. And I was just interested. I'm like, why doesn't nobody use the Cardo, and you got a great microphone in there, and just use an app on your phone and record the audio? Why does nobody do that? So you can probably tell by listening to it right now that it's really loud, and you can probably hear a lot of background noise. So I'm going to put my face shield down. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to actually turn this DeWalt fan on right here. And I'm not even in front of it. I'm actually standing back up here. I'm looking at the back of the camera, and you can already see it. I'm sure you can hear it. This isn't even near as loud. There's no motorcycle noise. This would just be wind noise. But listen when I get down in front of this thing. It's completely unintelligible. You can't hear anything. You absolutely cannot hear anything. I mean, I don't even know if you can hear me right now. So I don't even know if you could hear me or not. I was absolutely screaming. So I don't know if it's like the intercom system. I've read some stuff online with people talking about how they had problems with the intercoms and stuff like that, with if they had somebody riding with them, that it made a bunch of noise and all that. So I'm gonna kill this. And I'm gonna turn Cardo off. So that's the test, and that's kind of what we're working with here. And that forced me to kind of go down this other rabbit hole with all these other different microphone situations and everything else. So we'll see if it works or not. And again, when you're using the Cardo for telephone calls and stuff like that, it's totally different. And so during this ride, I'll make a phone call again. I'll leave a voicemail on my work voicemail, and I'll try to figure out how to get that to play in this video so you can hear how the noise cancellation and all that stuff works on the Cardo. So this is the setup for today. We'll do a short ride, and we'll kind of go from there. But before I started to really get into stuff, I wanted to get a scenario kind of set up here with how to get good audio and good video and get all that stuff going. So hopefully this works. So, you know, holy hell, it's hot. See, here's the thing about these gloves too. Like, what the heck, man? Why's my map shutting off? All right. So got the face shield up right now. No visor or anything down. It's got that sunglasses visor on the inside, but I'm not using that, so we're not going very fast. And just kind of get an idea, just try to cool down a little bit before I get. All right, so visor's still up. And we got the camera going. I think I can still see, yep, I can still, the light's still on the GoPro, so that's a good sign. And again, we're hardwired in to power, so we got that working for us. All right, I'm gonna put the face shield down here. We're coming up to the intersection, and good Lord, hopefully we can get a good quality video for everybody today. So I've got the ND8 filter on my GoPro. I bought some of those ND filters, and I've got the 8 on because it's about 7 o'clock and we're going to be directly into the sun on some of this ride. So I decided to go ahead and put that on. I'm shooting in flat. I'm shooting at 5.3K, 160 a shutter speed, 30 frames a second, flat color. And I'm gonna, edit it all or mess with it all when I get into Adobe Premiere and play with it there and pull all this stuff together and just kind of see what works. I'll have to, haven't played with this Insta 360 camera for a while either, so I'll have to kind of mess with that and sync some of that stuff up as well. So yeah, hopefully we'll have a good, some good video for everybody today. It's hot. It's a hot day here in Austin. I think it's 100 degrees now, so I'm sitting here in my heavy jacket, in my riding pants, helmet on. the face shield up. And just trying to get some airflow, and then I'll get that thing turned down. But it'll be good to see what the volume's like with this face shield up. I'm gonna go ahead and put my face shield. Face shield is down now. So we'll see how this goes. I'm gonna go ahead and stop right here. And see what happens. Face shield coming back up. Still seeing a power light, so that's a good sign on the GoPro in terms of so I know from my previous experience with GoPros that if you took that battery out, it definitely helps in terms of the heat. So it'll be a big win if this thing will record in 5.3K for, you know, obviously this video is not going to be 40 minutes long, but that's about what my ride is. And so it'll be cool if this thing can make it for that whole time and not have to worry about kind of messing with that. Again, the face shield's up. Just sitting at that stoplight, wanted to cool off a little bit, but go ahead and put that face shield back down now. So, you know, we're doing about 55 miles an hour, so hopefully, again, we get some good audio. I'm sure in Premiere, I'll have to maybe edit the audio a little bit just to get some weird frequencies out, or maybe just do a little bit of noise reduction to get some of the wind noise to go away, or to be a little bit quieter. But again, right now is why I got that ND filter on, because for a lot of this ride, we're going to be right pointing into the sun like this, and there's not a lot of clouds in the sky today, so it's maybe even something a little, maybe a 16 was the right choice. But anyway, that's part of the fun of this whole thing, is just trying to figure out all these different toys, and you get to take advantage of having fun while you're riding, and also being able to kind of mess with some of the toys that go along with it too. But this is a fun little ride. So this is it's about a 35-minute loop that I just started doing. This is probably the 5th time that I've done it, 5th or 6th time. Sometimes I go around twice. Tonight I'm just going to go around once. But you know, it gets out a little bit. There's nothing that's a highway. It's all kind of, you know, back roads. But you can get up to 55, 60 in a few different spots. But this was really kind of my foray into getting out on the road and getting comfortable in a higher speed situation with some curves, and having a little bit of traffic around, all that kind of stuff. And so I've had a lot of fun, really just kind of getting used to the bike in this situation too, and really how the bike shifts. It's one thing when you're just in a parking lot, or when you're just in your neighborhood and you're not really, most of the time, ever really getting maybe into 4th gear every once in a while. But out here, obviously, you're getting into 4th and 5th all the time, and so just kind of getting used to how the bike shifts. It's definitely, you know, user error more than anything else. A lot of times I'll get stuck between 1st and 2nd. I won't give it enough oomph, and it'll get stuck in neutral for a second. And one of the things, I think, I've heard some of the Harley folks talk about it too, but with this setup here, you really kind of have to move your foot out and let it kind of reset itself, because if you keep your foot under there the whole time and not pushing your foot down a little bit and getting it out of the way, that's when you kind of start to have problems. And sometimes even if I'm in 3rd and I know I've got, even if I think maybe I'm in 4th, I know I've got another gear, and I will push up or pull up with my toe, and it just doesn't do anything.
And so just kind of getting used to that too. I still have some pretty crappy shifts like that every once in a while, but so that was a good, again, just kind of focusing on those things and getting really comfortable on the bike and riding the bike, and starting to, some of these things that when you're riding early on, you're just thinking about them constantly, and trying to get some of those things to just become more second nature, and really just kind of obviously spend more time focusing on the road and all that kind of stuff. But so yeah, the bike's been great. I really feel like, though, man, I really am a big fan of those Harley, those new lowrider STs, and I don't know, you know, either something like that, or I think the bike that I kind of first fell in love with when I started kind of going through this process was a Heritage Classic. So I'll have to get over and ride them. I wasn't really, obviously, I wanted to find something a little bit smaller. This is a 750cc bike, and I suppose I could have learned on a Harley on an 1800cc bike or something like that, but I just felt like it just made more sense to try to learn on something that was a little bit easier to maneuver around. And so we'll see. I've talked to some of the guys over at the Harley dealership, and I really obviously need to go ride one. Those STs are really popular, and I don't even know that I've ever even seen one in the wild, and I certainly haven't had a chance to ride one. So I would have to do that first, of course. But that certainly can make the channel interesting, because nobody leaves those bikes stock, and so there's a lot of fun. I've been watching a lot of guys, everybody, you know, with it, whether it's a seat or forks, you know, risers, LED lights, you know, whatever, bags. There's all kinds of stuff that people are doing to those, and so again, I know that's part of the fun of having a bike, is that you get a chance to do all the customization stuff to it. But I haven't done much to this. When I bought this Honda, I think I did one earlier video where I was just kind of, I think maybe the first video that I put up actually was kind of showing this windscreen and kind of what's going on with that. And when I bought the bike, the guy who I bought it from had put on this really crappy Amazon fairing on it, and it didn't even sit centered, and it was I'm not super OCD or anything, but it was so bad that it was driving me nuts. I was like, how did you do that every day? So loving the, you know, again, kind of the Harley Heritage look, I went with this Memphis shade, and really dig it. But I bought the stock. This is the 13-inch, and I'm 6 feet, and my chin, you know, the top of this thing comes up to like the lower part of my chin, and it's just too low. So that first video that I did on my channel was just kind of testing this universal thing out, which does help quite a bit. But obviously one of the things that I love about that lowrider ST is the fairing on it, and really being able to, you know, ride without having the wind just destroying you. So this is Round Mountain Road here. Really cool back road. Takes me north here. This is in Leander, Texas, and we're going to head up to around Liberty Hill, Texas, and then just kind of turn around and come back. And again, hopefully all the cameras work and stay working for the whole time, and the audio is good. You know, I know the audio is always kind of one of those things that you can keep playing with and seeing if you can get it better, which I probably will. Obviously videos are really hard to watch and pay attention to if it just sounds like trash. And for me, I mean, you know, hopefully anybody watching this gets something out of it, hopefully, but a lot of these videos for me are the opportunity to record kind of a moment in time, and to be able to go back and watch it and reminisce a little bit. You know, if I keep riding motorcycles, this certainly won't be the last motorcycle that I ever have, and it'll be fun to come back and look and watch these videos and just kind of see my evolution through learning and trying to figure all this stuff out and sharing my experience and all that stuff. And so that's really what I look forward to when I get on the bike, is just coming out here on a day like today, even though it's hot as hell, and having this experience. And even better if you get a chance to share it with folks. So here we are. I don't know that you would call this the hill country of Texas. So I live in a little suburb northwest of Austin called Leander. And I think we're still in Leander. Once we get a little further north, we'll be up here in Liberty Hill. But really, I think you got to go about another hour west, which is really the kind of riding that I want to do. And eventually, maybe when it cools down just a smidge, I'll start heading out in that direction and doing all the things that you do, right? Just finding a cool place to have breakfast, finding, you know, some new cool roads and stuff like that. Basically, just kind of turning the GPS on and looking at roads and going, hey, let's head down that road and see what happens if we go down there. I think the speed limit is 45. This guy's going 45. But I don't like to go too fast on this road, but it's fun to zip a little bit. There's not a lot of crazy turns on the road, that's for sure. There's a few that, you know, my first time riding it, I was like, wow, that's pretty tight. But now that I'm on my 6th or 7th time going through here, everything feels a little bit better. And again, it's that thing you learn in the MSF course, to not just focus on that target right in front of you, but to get your eyes out further ahead. And then of course that'll help you, you know, lean into it and point the bike where you're looking, instead of staying focused on just the outside of that corner. But yeah, this is making for a pretty boring ride. Just looking at the back of this white Toyota Tacoma. But so far, it's been a blast. I've had a lot of fun learning this, and I mean, even just within a month and a half, I'm just kind of blown away, actually, by how much more comfortable I am. I remember when I first got this bike, and I kind of did a test ride in this guy's neighborhood, and luckily he lived in a really quiet neighborhood. But man, I, you know, stalled the bike a couple times and was just kind of freaking out getting it turned around, and so now it's just kind of, it's really cool. You get some practice, you get a little bit more comfortable, and it's really cool to see and feel yourself get better, get more skill, and get more comfortable, and try to find that next new thing. You know, what's the next new road that I'm going to go on? What's the next new trip that I'm going to take? What's the next new experience that I'm going to have? and I don't know. I think that's kind of the fun. That's the best part of it. But I want to make that phone call and give folks an idea of the noise canceling. I took that video earlier of what the Cardo sounds like if you just use a voice recorder app on your phone, but it actually sounds pretty good. Does what it's advertised to if you're using it Bluetooth. And so once we get through these little twisties right here and up to a spot where it's not as hard to see oncoming traffic, call this thing. We're going to leave a message while we're driving. I know you guys can't hear anything, but it's ringing. And when I get home and in post, I'll figure out how to get this voicemail and play it in the video. All right,
so I'm on a motorcycle and I'm going about 55 miles an hour down this road, and I've got the audio settings in the Cardo app to medium for everything, for the 2 different audio settings for the sensitivity. And I'm listening to a message here, and so hopefully give you a good idea. I've got my face shield down. Yeah, I got the face shield down, and using the Cardo mic, believe it works.
All right. So once we get back and we're doing the post-processing and stuff, I'll be able to kind of let you see or hear what that sounds like. But I was like, when I was recording with just the audio to the recorder app, to the voice recorder app on my phone, I was like, man, this thing is absolutely unusable. Like, it's impossible for somebody to use this. I don't even know how somebody could talk. And even, you know, even in an intercom. So I don't know how, since the Cardo is attached or connected via Bluetooth, I don't know if it's just seeing it as just this wide open mic. Now, it is an omnidirectional mic, but if you read about these microphones, like the Cardo microphone, especially the boom microphone, is it's designed to have, you know, there's a little arrow for the side that you're supposed to talk in, and then the other side is supposed to be like the noise cancellation. So it's supposed to take noise from the other side and just kind of use that and cancel it out, just like a set of Bose headphones or something like that. But it's just awful, as you heard in my, you know, when I used my fan in my garage as the example for that. It was absolutely horrible. So I don't know what the situation is or what's different about when you make a phone call. It makes it different, but it does. And so hopefully we'll give you some insight into that. But my camera is still recording, which is awesome. And hopefully we're still getting good audio. This ride will give me, you know, hopefully some good telemetry on what I can or need to improve. But hopefully with just some good EQ in post, I'll be able to get a good quality audio signal. Just hope this guy doesn't turn right where we're going. Ugh. right, so now we're in Liberty Hill. For like you blink your eyes 2 times and you're through the main little part of it here. But so far so good, man. I got my fingers crossed on the audio. This could be awesome. It's definitely a trial and error thing. You watch all these motorcycle vloggers, and I'm sure everybody's just done the same thing, right? It's just this constant kind of trial and error. But I wanted to have something set up in my helmet where I could use the modular part of my helmet without worrying, especially if I wasn't using a camera or anything and I just was using the Cardo. But I wanted to have it set up so that if I was opening the modular piece of the helmet, that I didn't have to disconnect stuff or get stuff out of the way. And so hopefully this particular setup will work pretty good. I'm gonna open the not going very fast. I'm gonna get a little wind here behind this guy, just kind of cool my face off a little bit. So I decided to shoot this one too. This is in that linear mode on the GoPro, and since I put the ND filter on, I decided to hard set shutter speed and frames per second. So we're shooting at 30 frames per second at 5.3K and at 1/60th of a second for the shutter speed. My understanding is I did leave the hyper smooth on, and I've read some stuff that folks are like, don't leave that on if you're using the ND filters, but we'll see how it turns out. I'm hoping that I can get some good audio off of the Insta 360, since it's literally right above the muffler. So I'm hoping I can get some good audio off of that. We can mix that in. If the audio in here works good, this will be a fun video. It'll take me some time to piece together some of this stuff, but hopefully it'll be a worthwhile video for everybody to watch. Especially if you're trying to figure out your helmet audio system. And I know it changes, it varies from helmet to helmet, obviously. Some helmets, this one's got, this LS2 Advanta, it's got a little bit of a chin curtain. I wouldn't call it a, anything that's gonna really cut back on the wind noise. But the helmets, I don't know, I haven't worn a lot of motorcycle helmets, so it's hard for me to rate one versus the other in terms of how quiet they are. But it feels pretty quiet, and I wear earplugs, so I'm kind of drowning out a lot of that wind noise anyway that's kind of coming through. It doesn't feel like it doesn't really feel like I get as much air as I would like to get. Oh, there we go. So I opened this little vent at the top, and now I'm feeling a little bit more air at the top of my head. That's helpful. There's a vent down by my mouth that I'm reticent to open or keep open because I don't want to introduce any more wind noise, obviously, in that area where the microphones are, than I absolutely have to. And the other thing that I might try to do a video on, or if anybody's got a video that they want to share with me or anybody else, is on these Android phones. I thought I figured out how to completely kill Bixby, so that when I use the OK Google, that shit right there doesn't pop up. The best that I could tell, you can go into these Bixby settings and you can click the one that unlinks your account, And I've got in my Android settings that my preferred voice assistant is Google Voice. So I can't figure out why this thing, when it's hooked up Bluetooth like this, why instead of it, and I kind of had it working before, and so I don't even know what's happened since the last time. I haven't even turned my phone on and off. So I don't even really know, but it'll be something that I'll mess with, and if I can come up with, if anybody else is running into this particular issue, if I can come up with a good answer for that, I'll be more than happy to do a video and share that as well too, because that's annoying. I don't really know all of the Cardo commands, so I don't even really know how to use that yet. There's some pretty good. I'm doing 60 now and got the wind coming at me from the side. So this is, at least from what I've had experience, this is about maximum amount of noise inside the helmet. So it'll be kind of interesting to see where we are from a volume perspective with the microphones. Right now, it's not too bad, but it's hard to tell with the earplugs in, really. But man, got my fingers crossed that this audio setup is going to work. It feels good. I did some testing with the GoPro and getting in front of that big fan and just trying out a few things, and so hopefully it's a winner setup. But we will see. All right, so back down here in Leander. And I like the setup. My camera's still on, which is amazing. Pretty excited about that, which means at least, you know, hopefully through all these different scenarios, I do that a few times on every ride. Just I don't kick that first to second up hard enough and just get it stuck in neutral. And it is what it is. We're home, folks. Thanks for joining. Hopefully this is a good video. Hopefully you get something out of it. I'll definitely learn something about it here in a minute when I start downloading all this stuff off of these cars, and if the audio works out good enough, we'll get a video, and I'll be sure to share if I learned anything else in the process between shutting all these cameras off and actually editing down this video. But thanks for hanging out, appreciate it.